Grade the Bengals so far in free agency. We are roughly a week in at this point. The Bengals started out making a ton of moves in the beginning of the week, but certainly have eased off the gas pedal since then. I know a lot of people are frustrated with the moves that they have made and, of course, the moves that they have not made. So get down in the comment section, grade the Bengals so far in free agency, A, B, C, D, or F. What's going on, Bengals fans? Stone Shields on hand for another edition of Bengals Breakdown. And coming up on today's show, we're going to be breaking down some of the signings that the Bengals have made during free agency, as well as giving them my grades as well. We'll be talking signings, we'll be talking re-signings, and FYI, we're just kind of covering everything that has happened kind of this past week. So some of the signings that the re-signings, that the Bengals have made prior to this week, Gesicki, Cody Ford, things like that, people like that, players like that. We're not going to be diving into them too much. Just 4 re-signings we are going to discuss, as well as the 3 signings from outside teams Cincinnati has made. So without further ado, let's get right into it. If you clicked on this video, the headline talked about a sneaky signing that the Bengals had made, and that sneaky signing for me is TJ Slaton, a sneaky good signing, in my opinion. TJ Slaton coming to the Bengals on a 2-year deal. Out of all the guys Cincinnati has either re-signed or signed, I am the most excited about TJ Slaton. Here's why. The last 4 seasons, he has spent time playing with the Green Bay Packers. Now, if you listen to me at all here on Bengals Breakdown, I really have a lot of love and respect for the Green Bay Packers organization. So if you're talking about a coach or a player coming over for Green Bay, chances are I am on board. Also, a connection with Cincinnati and the defensive line coach. Bengals' new defensive line coach obviously is no longer Marion Hobby. It is now Jerry Montgomery. In the first 3 seasons of Slaton's career, his defensive line coach was Jerry Montgomery. He played great football under Jerry Montgomery this past year in Green Bay. He did not play under Jerry Montgomery, of course, and it probably was the worst season of his career, so hopefully he can kind of rekindle some of that magic. His specialty is run defense, and we've heard Duke Tobin talk a lot about this. His mindset is if we improve our run defense, the pass rush will come. We'll see if that theory actually works or not, but he should really help boost the Bengals' run defense. He's a super physical guy. I'm sure you've seen clips on social media about him getting kind of in skirmishes as well. Certainly going to fit in very nicely here in the AFC North. He's going to start at nose tackle for the Cincinnati Bengals. McKinley Jackson, your pick from last year in the draft, second-year player here in 2025, will work his way into the rotation as well. And he's more like DJ Reader than Sheldon Rankins, which I think is a very good thing. When you're talking about TJ Slaton, obviously it's frustrating that Reader is no longer a Bengal, but I think Slaton is going to do a lot better job filling in for that DJ Reader role, really helping your run defense. Overall, I'm giving this a B+. You're not paying him a ton of money, and I think he can really step up and be a good player for you defensively. I think this is a sneaky good signing for the Cincinnati Bengals. Leads to the pinned comment of today's video. Are you happy with the TJ Slaton signing? Let me know in the comments. Type Y for yes or N for no. If that ad comes here on YouTube, totally fine. Take advantage of it. Get down in the comments. Let us know what you think. Next up here, let's talk running back. Samaje Perine is officially back. He will be a Bengal in 2025. I know a lot of people are probably excited about this one. It feels like ever since he left, people have wanted Samaje Perine to come back, and allegedly Cincinnati's been working to try to make that happen. It finally happens here in 2025 NFL free agency. When he left for Denver, he basically said he felt a little disrespected by what the Bengals offered him that year, that offseason, so he opted to go to Denver. Now, ultimately, he does come back for the Cincinnati Bengals. It's all about whether or not he can get back to what he was doing a couple of years ago when he was here in Cincinnati. He was a very pivotal part of those teams that went on those playoff runs. Can he still be a great pass blocker? If he can do that, that's awesome, right? Is he still a good third down back for you, right? Would really help take the load off Chase Brown. Certainly would be very good. Only issue really is that he didn't do a ton for Kansas City. Wasn't used a bunch. So I'm just kind of wondering if he still has it like he did a few years ago. Obviously, running backs can age pretty quickly, so we will see. Overall, you needed to add to the running back room. I don't really have a problem bringing in Samaje Perine. Hopefully, it works better than the last time you had a reunion with Von Bell coming in. Hopefully, Samaje Perine can still offer you a lot more. I'm going to give this one a B- for me. Last signing, as of filming at least, is Oren Burks, linebacker, most recently played with the Philadelphia Eagles. I've got some concerns when you're talking about a guy like Oren Burks. This is his 4th team in the past 5 years, so he's bounced around a lot. He is a journeyman. The Bengals kind of pivoting off what they have done in the past. Usually staying away from guys that are 30 years old, which we'll talk about another guy that's getting up there in age as well that the Bengals also are bringing back. But Oren Burks is 30 years old. The contract is a good thing, I will say. 2 years, $5 million. And look, if you're paying all the guys that they got to pay offensively, and hopefully maybe Trey Hendrickson, we'll see how that goes. You can't afford to spend at that linebacker position much. Obviously, you're already paying Logan Wilson as well. I hope he's not your starter alongside Logan Wilson, but we'll see. He might have to develop into that role. I would imagine that Al Golden had a big say in bringing him in. But to be honest with you, I got to give this one a D+ because he's bounced around, hasn't played a ton of football, and I think the Bengals are kind of rolling the dice here saying, oh, he got hot for Philadelphia in the playoffs. Hopefully he can do that on a more consistent basis for Cincinnati, for us, in 2025. I don't know if they're going to be able to do it, but like I said, they can't afford to spend a ton of money at that position, so I get it. Hopefully, Duke Tobin looks correct here. Al Golden, Zach Taylor, everybody that went into making this decision, and Oren Burks can be at least your third linebacker here in 2025. We'll continue with some of the Bengals re-signings, guys that were already on their team, here in a minute. But first, a shout-out to our friends over at Fanatics. I want to let you guys know that Bengals Sideline hats are out now. They are available right now. That is chatsports.com/Bengals Sideline. Obviously, it's the offseason. That doesn't mean you can't get you some Cincinnati Bengals swag, courtesy of our friends over at Fanatics. I've got a few of these myself. Really encourage you guys to check out all the deals over on Fanatics. By the way, that link will be in the comment section and the description of today's video. All right, let's break down 4 re-signings here for the Cincinnati Bengals. The first one that went public was, of course, B.J. Hill. Kind of mixed opinions on this from the fan base, and really myself included as well. I think the overall feeling here was we love B.J. Hill. We appreciate what he has done and what he did in the 2 playoff runs, of course, as well. But it kind of felt like, it was coming to an end, and we all were going to be okay with it coming to an end. But now he's coming back here, 3-year deal, $33 million, and you're sitting here like, well, it's beginning to look like we're kind of just running back this defense that was horrible with new leadership. Al Golden instead of Lou Anarumo, that obviously is a red flag. Again, alluded to earlier in the video, Bengals typically stay away from guys that are 30. B.J. Hill is about to turn 30, and he's coming back on a 3-year deal, so that is out of character. Look, I understand why the Bengals love B.J. Hill, right? If you look at the moves Cincinnati has made in recent memory, that Billy Price trade, right, when you sent Price to New York and got B.J. Hill, one of the best moves that you have made recently, so I understand still wanting to stand by B.J. Hill and see what he can do. But look, the defensive tackle market wasn't very deep in free agency here for the Cincinnati Bengals, and I think the familiarity with B.J. Hill was intriguing to Duke Tobin in Cincinnati, and ultimately is why they decided to bring him back. Hopefully he can kind of get back to form from a couple of years ago. He did have the second most pressures on the team behind Trey Hendrickson, so I guess that is a positive in that front, but really got to be better as a run defense. B.J. Hill certainly was a big reason last year why they weren't very good in that area of their defense. So I'm going to give this one a C personally for me. Question for you guys. I'm very curious on this one. Did you want to bring B.J. Hill back? I felt like it was kind of, as I just kind of mentioned, it was like, we love you, but we're kind of ready to move on. That was kind of the general feel that I got from the fan base. But let me know in the comments. Did you want to bring him back? Type A for yes or B for no. Next up here, Joseph Ossai, edge rusher, coming back on a 1-year deal. I think the most notable thing about this is that David Mulugheta is his agent. So Mulugheta finally was able to reach a deal with the Cincinnati Bengals when it came to a second contract, which is pretty hard to believe that it's taken this long for Mulugheta, as he's had several clients play for the Cincinnati Bengals. 1-year, $7 million deal. By the way, as of filming, I don't think this one is official yet, but it's really only a matter of time before it is. I'll be honest with you guys, I was ready for him to walk. I was ready to mix it up there at that position. He showed flashes kind of early in his career, but he relies so much on his effort, and I got to give him credit. His effort is always there, but he has to win more off the ball at the line of scrimmage. He simply has not been able to do that. Again, Duke Tobin thinks we shore up our run defense, the pass rush will come. We'll see if that theory is accurate, but I kind of was ready for Cedric Johnson, your 6th-round pick last year, to get some more playing time out there, but it looks like Joseph Ossai is going to be coming back, and we'll see if he can turn the corner and offer some more pass rush for this Cincinnati Bengals football team. I'm going to give this one a D because I do believe that Cincinnati would have been better off moving off Joseph Ossai, but I thought he also was going to cost a little bit more money as well. 1 year, $7 million, probably not the end of the world if you can get some production out of him. talk Marco Wilson here on today's show. Wilson, of course, was acquired midseason by the Cincinnati Bengals, got him from the New England Patriots. He didn't play a ton, but he was really solid for you on third down. He came in on some third down packages, didn't play a ton of snaps, but did a good job when he was out there. It's not going to cost you much at all, so don't really have a massive issue with Marco Wilson itself. My biggest problem is your cornerback room was not good enough last year, and it looks like you're literally running it back with the same room. All those guys seemingly were benched for one another at some point in the season or were hurt. And that obviously is not a good situation to be in if you're the Cincinnati Bengals. I know Charles Burks, their DB's coach, was able to keep his job. Zach Taylor's got a lot of faith in him, but boy, does he have a lot of work to do if he's not bringing in any new bodies. We'll see if Marco Wilson ends up, making the team or if he is a guy that ends up getting cut. But at this point, your cornerback room is full. I'm not sure how you're going to go about that if you're the Cincinnati Bengals. It is a weak point on your team last year in 2024. And I have no optimism that it's not going to be a weak point again for you in 2025. Last up here, this news came out last night. Cam Sample will be back for the Cincinnati Bengals on a one-year deal. Had an at-home video for you guys last night kind of talking about this. I am very happy that Cam Sample is, in fact, coming back. It kind of was a no-brainer for me, right? He was going into the final year of his rookie deal last year. Got picked in the same draft, by the way, as Joseph Ossai, and then, of course, he popped his Achilles in training camp, missed the entirety of the season. But as I've said, I said it in last night's video, I've said it on multiple occasions, if Cam Sample plays for you in 2024, your defense looks totally different. I'm not going to say necessarily you make the playoffs, but you're a heck of a lot better defense. Really love his versatility. He can play for on the outside and also swing into the inside as well and still get you that pass rush. If he can return to form after this Achilles, which you never know after coming back from an Achilles, professional athletes, sometimes you just don't look the same. If he can return to form, that's going to be a big boost for Cincinnati. Not sure exactly what his contract details are or at this point, but one-year deal for Cam Sample, I am very happy about that. I'm going to give that a B+. Make sure you guys are subscribed to our channel. That is youtube.com/BengalsTV. If any moves happen over the weekend, we will have you covered with a video. So don't miss out. Hit that sub button right now.